back and thank you for staying with us. Now, today marks a year since the Enyobeni Tavern Tragedy. A celebration of the end of exams that regrettably involved drinking ended in the shocking deaths of 21 teenagers. The tavern owners are on trial for selling alcohol to minors and are due back in court next month. The youngest was just 13 years old. Let's go to eNCA's Ronald Masinda, who's attending the commemoration event in Scenery Park. Ronald, today, of course, marking a year since that tragedy. It was a celebration of the end of exams that regrettably involved drinking. But of course, you are at that memorial today or commemoration. What has been said so far about closure when it comes to this tragedy?
Good afternoon, Maseko. Well, the parents are not to blame for what happened at Enyobeni Tavern. Those are some of the comments made on stage earlier. Some of the parents are putting the blame squarely on Siakangela and Vuyokazi Ndevu, the owners of Enyobeni Tavern. One person who lost a family member is Umama Ntomizonke on that tragic day. Mama, Sabulela Klashelako, thank you so much. I know it's a difficult time. You said on stage that as parents, you don't believe that the children died of suffocation and that they were poisoned. Tell us more. Why do you believe
that? Greetings to the viewers. The reason why I believe on that, the appearance of the corpses when we were viewing our children. For an example, some of the children had some foam that was coming out of their mouth. Some had, for an example, mine is a yellow bone that is light in color, but she was grayish with this sort of some very dark colors in the skin, which proves that there has been something that they ate in there. So that's why we don't believe that it was only suffocation. And secondly, we were told that the stampede is ruled out from day one after they have examined the bodies. But based on the pressure that we gave unto them, they just gave us something because they wanted us to get off their hands. So, which is why we are saying today, if our government, if the authorities are pretty sure of the fact that our children were killed due to stampede, why are our results not into our hands today? It's if they are sure of the fact that there were only 3 chemicals that they detected from the corpses, what is it that they are hiding that makes them not to give us the results so that we can see what they are saying? So it's some of the reasons that makes us.
And surprisingly, Siakangela Ndevu, in an interview that I did with him a couple of months ago, also believes that the children were poisoned. He said that this was out of jealousy, given the success his tavern had. But you're blaming the Ndevus on this?
We are blaming the Ndevu family, who are the owners of the tavern. The fact that they are the ones who called our children. We all know that there was an advert that was circulating in the social media, sent out by Ndevu family, inviting our children. So he is the one who was responsible to make sure that calling our children into his place, he is giving them the service that is correct to them. He knows if he is saying it's because of the business that they have been poisoned, what control measures he had so that it doesn't affect our children. And yet the same Ndevu now who is confirming that there was the children were poisoned is denying the fact that he has got something to do with the death of our children. But how? Because our children died in his premises, under his control, in his business that he organized.
And there's also a view that had the parents looked after the kids, none of this would have happened. I know I don't want to sound insensitive, it's a very emotional time. But even over the weekend, the Buffalo City Metro urging parents to look after their children. That follows an incident that took place at East London's beach, where over 700 kids were seen there partying, pens down party, that we saw at Enyobeni Tavern. So are you saying that parents shouldn't blame themselves? That's what you said on stage.
I honestly say that. I honestly say that. Reason being, one, as I have said, if our children didn't consume contaminated alcohol, today they would have been alive. Secondly, based on the policies that are in place in terms of controlling our children, our government, I don't think there's anyone who is not aware of the fact that you are not allowed to shout or to reprimand your child. Once you reprimand the child, you are abusing her to such an extent that that child has got the right to go to the state courts to lay a charge against you of harassing her, and it will be taken into consideration. If you, because of the child has done something wrong, and then you discipline the child by hitting, because we grew up with that. That's how we are here today. That's how we are who we are today. It's because our parents were beating us up should we do misconduct. So, but today, if you do that, it means you are breaking the law, and you will be charged for that. So those are the reasons that makes us to be difficult as parents to look after our children properly.
Days and weeks following that tragedy, we saw a lot of support from government. Even President Cyril Ramaphosa came to the mass funeral. But today, you expressed disappointment, even going as far as saying on stage that even though you're disappointed, you will never stop voting for the ANC. Why did you make those utterances?
We all know how were they during the incident before the mass funeral, but we only heard their voices before the mass funeral. After the mass funeral, the tune changed. That we've done our part in the mass funeral. There's nothing now that we can do for your children. They promised us that they are going to make sure that we don't spend any cent for the funerals of our children. But I bet you we spent, some of the parents are still flowing in debts because of making sure that the funeral of their children is in order. But the government who promised us is no longer there. So it hurts us. Even the nature of this commemoration. We are suppose now here there's a lot of government structures who were here previously. Even the nature of the commemoration of our children, you could see that it doesn't have the dignity that is supposed to be having as a state problem.
Very quickly, I've been asked to wrap. You've also called for a wall of remembrance to remember the legacy of these children. You even said that they must be hailed as heroes. Why, Mom?
Our children died at Enyobeni in the name of abusing alcohol. Yet alcohol is the state issue. So if we could use that incident to educate those children who are still alive, even the survivors who are struggling now, we believe that there could be change. That is why we are referring to them as heroes, because there were many people there at the tavern, if you could see the pictures, but it only picked up them. So the fact that they are the only ones who died there, and the problem is the state issue, it could make them, the state, to use them so that other children can learn from what happened to them.
Okay, Mama Nebulela, thank you so much for your time. Well, that's where we leave it for now here in Scenery Park. It's back to you, studio.
All right, Ronald Masinda live for us there in Scenery Park in the Eastern Cape.